So the other day, a friend told me that, man, I feel like you're way more social than when you first moved here. And I laughed because a few years ago, I just moved to Canada and I could count my friends on one hand. Not because that I didn't know how to meet more people, but some of my habits were actually pushing people away. And once I spotted those and made a few changes, my social life just got a lot better. So let's start with the first one. Always being late. Not because I didn't know that it was bad, I just thought that I could get away with it. In my head, 10 minutes is like no big deal, and I'd blame traffic or assume that they wouldn't mind. But what I didn't realize was that every time I was late, I was basically telling them, you can wait. You are not urgent. And the truth is, once someone feel like they're not a priority to you, they will start making you less of a priority as well. So one time I had a gym meetup at 7 p.m. But at 7 I was still microwaving chicken at home. And I walked in 30 minutes late and I was like, bro, the traffic was crazy. And this guy just smiled. And the next thing I knew, he started training with someone else. Fair enough. So now I just set a 15 minutes get out the door reminder. If it rings and I'm still inside, I'll text my ETA and just grab coffee on the way. You know, being on time might be boring, but so is eating alone. Sorting that out felt like I'd cracked the code. But nope, I still found other ways to mess things up. You see, I'm the kind of person who jokes like a lot. And most of the time, I can land it pretty well. But I still mess up sometimes. Like the night we were playing this board game, and my friend was just taking forever to make a move. So I blurted out, I was like, are you playing game or translating the whole card? Everyone laughed, except him. He just gave me that kind of a polite smile, and I'm like, yeah, maybe he's a bit self-conscious about being slow. It's not his first language, so sometimes he just needs a bit more time to think it through. And I get it. When I first moved to Canada, we played this game called Cards Against Humanity, and half the cards had slang that I didn't understand. So now I always try to read the room. If I see even a tiny bit of the awkwardness, I'd be like, oops, my bad. Because the goal isn't to make the perfect punchline. It's actually to make everybody feel comfortable to stay in the conversation. But even when I nailed that, I still found different ways for people to feel awkward. So the other day, my buddy said, man, I've been dragging myself out of bed late every morning. I feel so unproductive. And instead of saying, yeah, that sucks, I just jumped straight into the lecture. The morning routines, cutting phone time before bed, or even a book that I thought it would be helpful to read. I even recommended my YouTube channel. I thought I was being helpful, but really I was just making it all about fixing the problem. You see, it doesn't matter if my tips were solid. I just completely hijacked his moment. He wasn't asking for a plan. He just wanted someone to hear him. And when you skip straight into the solution, it just tells them that their feelings aren't worth sitting with, only fixing. So now I start with, do you want advice or do you want to just get it off your chest? If advice, sure, it's my showtime. I'll give some advice, but I'll keep it short. But if they just wanted to vent, then I'll shut up and let them talk. Because most of the time, people just want a friend, not a motivational podcast in human form. And then there are times when I'm not saying anything, but I'm still not really there. I have moments when there's someone telling me a very important thing, like a fight with their partner or a promotion at work. These are important moments for them, but I'm just sitting there and waiting for my turn to talk. Or I'll just completely cut them off and like, oh, that happened to me too. And all of a sudden, it's my story, not theirs anymore. So the thing is, people can feel that you're not really there. You're not asking questions because you're curious. You're just waiting for a pause. And no one likes the feeling that their words are just background noise to you. Nowadays, I try to remind myself that it's not about having the perfect reply or giving advice. Sometimes the best thing I can do as a friend is just to be there, to listen, and to care enough to ask, to actually want to know and understand what's going on in their world. We all want to feel known. We all want to feel like someone gets us. And listening is how you give that to people. And being there for people doesn't stop at a conversation. It's also about showing up when you say you will. Well, I used to have this bad habit of saying yes to everything, then back out. For example, some friend would ask, karaoke night next Thursday, are you in? And I'll be like, oh yes, without even checking my week. But anything that involves other people, including myself, always takes longer than I think. A quick catch up, suddenly it's 3 hours long, door to door. And without a breathing room, I'm either rushing or I'm canceling. So now I protect time for myself. If I'm not sure, I'll say, let me see if I can move a couple of things and get back to you. If it's worth it, I'll make it happen. If it's not, I'd rather be honest than overpromise. And leaving space for myself actually made every yes that I give mean something. And there is one last habit I've noticed, one that doesn't really look like a problem at first, but can quietly make friends drift apart. So I've hosted my fair share of game nights, barbecues, or random nights out. And because of that, I've noticed that some people just never playing anything at all. Sometimes I ask why, and they're like, I don't know, I guess I'm just waiting for someone to invite me. Well, the problem is that the longer they waited, the less people reached out. Not because they weren't liked, but they just looked like they're not available or even disinterested. From the outside, it's easy to see how that cycle starts. No invites sent, less invites received, and even less motivation to reach out. And I realized that I've probably missed out a lot of hangouts because of that. There were weeks when I didn't really message anyone, and I'd later see photos of the stuff that I would love to join. All because that I stayed quiet. What worked for me was to plan at least one thing a month. It doesn't have to be fancy, maybe just grabbing drinks on a Friday night. I give a clear time and space, and all people have to do is say yes. I remember the first time I tried, I just asked 3 friends, and somehow it snowballed into 8. Turns out people were just happy when someone took the lead. So here's the recap. Be on time, keep jokes warm, only give advice if they ask. Actually listen, don't overcommit, and be the one to send the invite. Which habit is your biggest one? Drop the number, and I promise that I wouldn't be late reading it. If this helped, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. This is Wen Tao. I'll see you guys the next time.